The Spirit is Willing by Makokam and Autumn, 1,209 words. Fiora walked through the festival, her message book tucked under her arm. Her friends were here somewhere. She'd meet up with them eventually. But at the moment, she was more focused on looking for him. She'd been talking to him about this festival for the last month. She'd been trying to convince him to come so they could finally meet. His last message had been non-committal, but she was sure he'd come. He was too perfect. She stopped and turned. Chewing her lips, she looked around. Not that she'd know him if she saw him, but he knew what she looked like, so she just needed to spot someone she didn't know who recognized her. Nothing. She climbed up and sat on a fence around a merry-go-round. She opened her message book on her lap. She splurged on the extra thick version with the genuine leather cover, so it opened with a satisfying thwomp. She took the quill from its holster on the spine and started by writing his identifier on the top of the page. Then wrote, "Hey, I'm here already. Hope you're doing well and get here soon. The food is to die for. They'll fry anything. And I know you said you weren't interested in rides, but there's so many. They have tunnels of love and even a small roller coaster. I'm sure there's something you'll like. I'm by the merry-go-round if you're here already." She drew a small square with a circle in it and held the book up in front of her. The next moment, the book became weightless, and the quill floated out of her hand. She let go of the book, and it hovered in front of her. She clasped her hands in her lap, cocked her shoulder, and smiled at the book. The quill became a blur as it quickly sketched out a picture of her, the fence, and the ride. It was quite detailed for a drawing, especially one made by a spell with only black ink, though the writers and other people waiting in line were just suggested. It wasn't perfect, but it was able to capture what people wanted it to, so nobody had bothered trying to refine it further. Not at that price point, anyway. She signed her name and drew a line under the message. The page flashed, sending the message to the specified book. She nodded to herself and closed the book, then hopped off the fence. She looked around again, pacing back and forth and swinging in wide arcs. She hoped he'd respond soon, if he didn't come running. "Fiora!" And she looked up as her friends called her name and ran over. "Did you eat? What have you been on? You gotta try that one. Here, have this. I'm gonna get another. Is your boyfriend gonna be here?" It was said with a nudge. "Well, he hasn't said, but..." The book hummed, and she flipped it open. "I can't make it. I'm really sorry. I hope you have fun, and tell me all about it." There was a picture under the message of trees and grass from a high window. He wasn't in it. "No," she answered. Fiora paced in her room. The message book sat on her bed. She glanced at it with increasing frequency. Waiting? Finally, she couldn't wait anymore. She threw the cover open and started writing. "I'm really mad at you. I've been talking to you about the fair for weeks, and I really thought you wanted to go. Then you don't say anything and just tell me you can't make it, after I'm already there and looking for you. And I don't even know what you look like. Just hoping I'd see someone happy to see me. You won't even send me a picture of yourself. It makes me feel like I can't trust you. Like you don't mean anything you've said." She sent the message and slammed the book shut. She stared back at it for a minute, then left the room. A couple hours later, she returned to find the book lightly buzzing. She wasn't sure she wanted to read whatever it said. She opened it anyway. "I'm sorry. You're right. I haven't been entirely honest with you. If you want to know the truth of it, then come to the Badger Hill Library. It's on the other side of town from you, I believe. Come up to the 3rd floor." She closed the book and set it aside. The Badger Hill Library was inside what used to be a large private manor. The accompanying grounds had been turned into a park, and the last member of the family left it to the city for public use. Fiora looked up at the building, which seemed to have seen better days, wondering what he wanted to meet her there for. Inside, it didn't look much better. It was clear they were doing their best to keep everything neat and well-maintained, but it was equally clear the building itself was wearing down in ways they weren't able to repair. After wandering the 1st and 2nd floors for several minutes, she had to ask how to get to the 3rd floor. "The 3rd floor was closed off 5 years ago." She sat down at one of the reading tables and opened the book. "I'm here. They said the third floor is closed. His response was immediate. There's a door at the back of the second floor. I can open for you. Walking from room to room, between rows and rows of shelves, she found a door with a sign that said, "Do not enter. Employees only." It was just barely open. She walked up the stairs to a room that looked a lot like the rooms on the floor below, except the shelves were mostly empty, and everything was covered heavily in dust. It didn't look like anything had been disturbed in months. She stopped after passing a window and went back to look out. It was a view she was very familiar with. In the next room, there was a message book sitting open on a table. She knew without looking it was his. "Simon? Are you—" "I'm here." She turned to the voice and jerked back, eyes wide. Simon was in front of her, and she could see through him, like a drawing on worn thin paper. He was barely more than an outline. It felt like she could only see the parts of him she was looking directly at. "The book can't see me, so it can't draw me. And I can't leave the grounds. I can barely leave the library. I'm sorry for not... I shouldn't have let you think we could be a couple." "You're a ghost," Fiora said, stating the obvious. "Yes," Simon responded. "I've never talked to a ghost before." Simon hovered there, struggling to meet her gaze. "If you'd told me, I'd have understood. Dating a ghost is a lot easier than dating a liar." He flinched, seeming to flicker as he shifted. "You want to? Still?" "I admit, it has its challenges. But I fell in love with you for you, and I'm not ready to walk away." There are those moths and monsters. Cheer for this story if you loved it. Let's give some more claps. It's a longer story. It says, like, at an angle from the wall. I'm still confused, because it was just like, I don't know how well I could untangle it from itself here, but... like, it's just, it's just posted to the wall like that. Not at that angle, but, like I said, as a rectangle. Yes, the kitties, the tentacles, the applause. There it says, applause. The story was really good and seemed heartfelt. I do agree. I think it was great. And most certainly fulfills the prompt of love. No issues there. So I did review some of the stories. I tried to review ones that didn't have all their reviews in yet, or ones that were on the do not read side and stuff like that. But some are getting read today anyway, so apologies if I'm either retracing things I've already said or saying less than usual because I've already said stuff. But Mako's message. Autumn and I spent a lot of time batting around ideas for what we could write about. This was the only idea that was able to really solidify in my head, though the resolution left me scratching my head. But at this point, it's anything or nothing, so hopefully the ending works out. And as seems to be a forming trend, the idea of the carriages is interesting enough that I left it a little bit open for the story to continue. Anyway, hope you enjoy. I would love that. It would be very fun to see this story continued for, like, another event or something like that. I would love to see... I'm just, like... I don't know why, when I got to the end, like, I immediately got the idea of, like, her bringing him to... Well, I don't know that she could. But I was gonna say her bringing him to meet the parents and being like, yeah, you're gonna meet my new boyfriend. And then he's a ghost. I wonder if there's some way in universe you could find a way for her to, like, figure out how to bring him to other places. It's like, as long as you have a piece of the library, like Dracula and his dirt from home. If you have some dirt from the library grounds, if you have a wooden plank from the library around, could he meet the parents? That kind of thing. Or I guess it's not that hard for the parents to go to the library, but yeah, I think there's a lot of fun stuff you could do as the story continues. I really like the idea of the message books. I think that's a really fun little bit of magic that they're like phones, but they're more magical than that. They're little message books. I really like your little details about, like, she splurged on the thick version, so it thwomps. I had to move my I had to move my books out of here, so I don't have. Well, let's see if I can find something to thwomp. New question. Is the extra thick version like this kind of extra thick? Or like this kind of extra thick? I was imagining this. So I'm assuming that your thwomp is... That was not a thwomp, that was a slam! This is not the best... This is a huge book, but it's not thwompy. Okay. I just need to be gentle with it. If I'm gentle with it, then it thwomps. Okay. I'll try it with the other one. Maybe the other one is better. Actually, yeah, this one might be better. Well, how does it thwomp when it opens? I would not call that a thwomp when it opens. That was the spine cracking. It's like a book with back problems. Oh, my neck. Yeah, it doesn't thwomp when it opens, hitting the desk or thighs. Yeah, it ain't thwomping. I don't think I get it. But anyways, before we actually tested it, I really liked the image. I really liked the idea. And I do like the little, like, the things about the price and how, okay, she splurged on the extra thick version, but it's still not the premium Grandmaster message book because it can't do, like, full color and detail pictures and stuff like that. And I do like that a selfie in the magical world is, is like the drawing that the book does. Maybe my imagination was overexerting itself. Potentially. If anybody has a video of a book thwomping when you open it, send it over so that I can learn if this exists or if this was Mako's imagination going wild. But yeah, so I like the little price things and stuff. Yeah, so it was funny that on my commenting read that I was like, is this foreshadowing? And it sure was. So I understand this a lot more on my second read. Like, this is a small fair, and so a small fair having a roller coaster of any kind, even it be a small roller coaster, is still impressive. is still uneven. But at the time, I wasn't really sure. Okay. Because there are some fairs that are really big and have lots of roller coasters, and there are some that aren't. I guess, actually, come to think of it, like, I've gone to the fair in, well, I was going to say in Seattle, but I think there's probably a more official Seattle fair that I did not go to. But I went to, like, a smaller fair in Washington State that I love, and I want to go back to so bad. And I have gone to the... I don't know what it's called. Is it called the Dallas Fair? Is it called the Texas Fair? I think there's like a sign of like big text at the front and stuff like that. I think people come from all around to it and stuff. And as the saying goes, yeah, the fair is bigger in Texas. And I don't go on roller coasters, but as I recall, like, they have multiple roller coasters there. But I think even the small fair that I went to in the Seattle area, that one also I think had multiple roller coasters. Not as many and not as big, but I think it did have multiple full-fledged roller coasters. So I wasn't sure how big this was, and so then when she's like, there are so many rides, they have a Tunnel of Love, and even a kiddie coaster, and I was like, why is that an even? Like, this is not selling it. I feel like if it's that, I think especially because she said so many in all caps, I was thinking it was more of a, oh yeah, we got the Tunnels of Love, we got the bumper cars, we've got like the little whirly thing, yeah, a different whirly thing, we have the tornado whirly thing, we have a slingshot thing, and so I'm thinking if there's that many, then we have like multiple actual roller coasters, and so I was very thrown when she's like, we have a Tunnel of Love and a dinky little kiddie coaster, you know? But it does make more, all that to say, but it does make more sense on a second read that I'm understanding this is a smaller thing, smaller than any of the fairs that I have gone to, so that even having a small roller coaster is still, like, impressive, you know? I didn't mean kiddie, I just meant small enough to be packed up compared to permanent ones at amusement parks. Well, I guess, like, I understand that, but I guess it's just the fact that she's going, this is the big ticket item, they even have this! And so, in her even big ticket item, her to call it small is, like, diminishing it, and I think that's part of why I had that initial reaction of, like, they even have a small roller coaster. Like, I honestly think if you didn't have small in there and you just said, like, they even have a roller coaster, I think that alone would have improved the line for me and helped me understand it more. But her saying even, like, here's the big ticket item and it's small is part of it. So I'm also curious, I'm trying to think, I'm trying to think how I feel about the camera stuff or the drawing stuff, because I like it, and I like that you're going into, like, the... Oh, hi, kitty. I like that you're going into how the books work and these little intricacies, and it's actually relevant to the plot. That's actually... I'll talk about that in a sec. But I also am not sure if, like, there's maybe too many details. Like, do we need to know about, like, drawing the square with the circle and trying to puzzle that out? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But, so, like, the thing I was gonna say is that this is good advice in the sense that, like, the pictures are relevant, right? Because, like, it would work fine. Like, you have the words. It would work fine just to have an irrelevant picture selfie time. But the fact that he can't be seen by the book, and so he does the same thing, but he hasn't seen in it, he's not in the picture, actually is relevant to what's going on and is a clue to what's going on. And so I think that's cool that you worked, like, the fun world-building details into the plot and stuff.
Well, the Azure Throne is taken. The Azure Throne is taken, Kitty Cat. I know it's upsetting.
Oh. Well, now I put books in your spot. Can I move them for you?
You're cute. You're cute, kitty. You know that? Yeah. Is that a nice spot? Oh, you're so cute. You're purring. Purring.
I wonder, am I still quiet? Because I just had a thought. It's been said before, but I love the switch to kitty mode. Nice. Oh yeah, so I'm curious how Fiora read to you guys, especially in this first little bit, because it definitely read to me as like, this is...
Oh, kitty, you want out?
It definitely read to me as like, he's very clearly non-committal. Like, even she can admit that he's non-committal, but she's like, no, but it's perfect, it's amazing, he has to come. And then he hasn't showed her a picture of himself and stuff like that. Like, the clues seem to be pointing to, this is very one-sided. Like, at best, this is one-sided. At worst, like, he's taken advantage of her in some way or another. And so, honestly, like, one of the biggest twists to me at the end was not that he was a ghost, but that he actually wants to date her. That he's actually into her. And so, I'm curious if it read to you guys, how it read to you guys. If you were like, no, like, I think he actually cares about her. Or if you were like, oh, sweet baby summer child, like, he is not into you, that kind of thing. I don't know if that's an issue, because, like, it just is kind of fun at the end that we're like, not only is he a ghost, he's into her! Amazing. Like, yeah, I don't care if you're a ghost. Are you into me? Thing to clip. But, just lost my train of thought now. But I don't know if there would be a better way to kind of convey... Well, actually, let's go back to one of my original questions, because one of my original questions in my original review was, why doesn't he just say no? Like, he can't leave the library. He knows he physically can't go. And so why doesn't he just say, I can't do it? And thinking about it more, I can understand that, like, he wants to, like, I know now that he wants to be in a relationship with her, and so he wants to say yes, but he physically can't, and so he's not willing to just say no, and, like, potentially he might fear that the relationship ends if she says no, but he also isn't gonna fully lie and say yes and then not show up, and so he kind of was like, ghost noises? That would be really funny if we saw his message that, of whether or not he was gonna go, his non-committal message, and instead of it being like, I don't know, I'm not sure, my dear girlfriend, like, maybe not. Instead, it's just like, and that's the whole message sent. Yeah, Irvin said a straight no might end the relationship. Yeah, so I can understand now more of why he didn't say a straight no, but I'm wondering on the opposite side, is there something you could have done to better convey, like, no, like, this is not one-sided, there's nothing creepy going on here, he does care about her, they actually want to date, both of them do, it's just, he cannot go. He cannot go to the festival. That does sound like the Tim Allen thing, doesn't it? What? Exactly. Oh, that's incredible. Oh, now, do you guys know about that? Because now I kind of want to play the sound for the people who don't know, because it's wonderfully similar. I don't think their message books can send gifts, but now I'm switching the imagination to, instead of like EHHHHH question mark, that instead it's just a gif of that. A gif of Tim Allen. Miko says, I always imagine him saying things like, that does sound fun. That's fair. It does sound that way. I cannot see it, though. It sounds great. I cannot show up. That's fair. But anyway, so yeah, just wondering if there's anything that he could do to earlier in the story more clearly convey he is into her. I guess something you could have done is had her kind of describe a little bit more of what their relationship has been up until this point, which could potentially solve another issue. I guess I'll just talk about that now. So, quite a few readers I saw in the reviews had an issue with the fact that it's not clarified how they met, how they knew each other. Personally, I didn't have a problem with that because I was making the connection of book equals phone, message book equals texting. And so I just kind of was thinking, well, they met online. And most of my friends I have met online, and so I am very familiar with that with that idea of just like meeting someone in some sort of forum or group or Discord or on Reddit or whatever, and then like talking to them, migrating to DMs and stuff like that. And so that's kind of what I was just thinking happened. But I did realize, like, you didn't necessarily say that, oh, hey, there's, like, message book forums, that you can have group message books coming together. And so, because a message book isn't exactly the same as a phone, we don't know what all its capabilities are. I can understand how some readers might go, well, how did she get his identifier? Like, we haven't been told that there are, like, group chats that they could have met in, so how did they get each other's identifier? So I do think if you had had a paragraph in there that was like, they met on a message book forum, or like, you know, you just explain what the forums are or what it was, and like they first started talking there and stuff like that, and then you could also describe how like they grew closer and closer, and then one day she asked like, can I call you my boyfriend, or something like that. Well, that might seem one-sided. Maybe if he asks, you know, can I call you my girlfriend or whatever. So yeah, if you had something to both show how they met and also show why it's not just one-sided, that he was giving clear signals that he loved her, that could potentially improve the story.
My cat. My dog. My darling dog. Snuggle. Feet. What if I get your box? Would that be something you're into? My little dog? My little darling? You're such a cute thing.
All true in retrospect. that is fair. I do kind of like the jumble of like, what'd you eat? You gotta try this one, you know, that a group of friends can be like. And I do kind of like the clarification that...
Oh, yeah.
The clarification that she does have friends outside of him, because that could have made it even creepier if he's like her only friend, and it's like, I think he's using you, and you're isolated. This is not good. And so making clear, yep, she has other friends that she can hang out with. She's okay in that regard. Is a good thing. Let me get his box for him.
Come back, kitty. Come back, kitty. I brought your box.
Well, we'll see if he comes back.
I love this kitty.
A train went past the camera. Do I look like a train when I'm going fast? But there is also a question of, there could have been a problem if it was just him that we're talking about. But there's a question of, would this have worked better if this was a more intimate meeting? A more intimate meeting of just them, that they were going to meet for coffee or dinner, like an actual date or something like that. would that have worked better and maybe potentially made her anger work even better than it already does, kind of thing. I do like her anger here, though there was something that felt a little bit weird about it the first time I read it, and I'm trying to figure out what it was. The one thing I can say now is that I do think if you had a line in there of something like, I'm afraid the person I've fallen for is a lie, like something a little more blatant, like, I have fallen for you, and I feel like you're lying, you know? Then I think that could have improved the section a bit. Oh, I guess part of what it was originally, it was like, she's like, I've been talking to you for weeks, and I really thought you wanted to go. And then you don't say anything, and just tell me you can't make it. Like, well, okay, fair reason to be upset, but you did say he was non-committal. And so, especially because we don't know what that message was, and actually come to think of it, knowing that it was going to be like, that sounds like fun, that actually could have helped if you had the line in there directly. But me reading this and going like, well, you know he was non-committal. Like, you knew that he might not be going. So, you know, why are you so mad and acting like for sure and for certain he would have been there when even you yourself said he was non-committal about going, you know? And that's not really what she's mad about. She's really mad about the fact that she's afraid he's lying to her, which makes sense and is good to see after my fear in the earlier part. Oh, and I guess part of it could also be, like, in addition to the non-committal thing, it's like, you won't even send me a picture of yourself. It makes me feel like I can't trust you. For me, like granted, like, my life is different now that I, like, you know, stream and do YouTube videos and stuff like that. But prior to doing all this, if I met someone online and, like, I mean, it was very rare that I would send or ask pictures because I don't like to pry. But if I did send a picture and then they did not send one back, yeah, okay, maybe I'd be like, you know, okay, I guess they're just shy. But I do, especially if we, like, kept talking, and especially if it, like, progressed into a romantic relationship. Yeah, actually, that is the situation. Is that this isn't just like, oh, we're friends, you might be a little shy. This is like, we're boyfriend-girlfriend now. And so if it's like, yay, we're boyfriend-girlfriend now, here's a picture of me. And then he doesn't send one back, I would be like, oh no. Like, I have made a mistake. And so I think that might be part of why it sounded weird to me that she's like, you won't send a picture of yourself. Like, I'm starting to wonder if I can't trust you. And I'm like, I would have been, like, running for the hills the minute that we are boyfriend and girlfriend and he doesn't send me a picture. And so I guess that's part of why going more general and saying something like, I'm afraid the person I've fallen for is a lie, rather than talking about the specifics there, I think it could, at least for me, improve that little bit. It's really not that big a deal, though, because, like, it did work, and I did like the anger and emotion of it. I do like that right after we as the audience are questioning him, she's questioning him. Do I hear him? Yeah.
Yes, I do. Come here. Look, it's your box.
He zoomed into it.
He zoomed. Yes, he did. Kitty loves his box.
And as I said in my comments, she is stronger than me. She is a stronger person than me. That she's not sitting right beside her message book just waiting. Because, like, I try, and granted there are times where I am like, I'm literally going to put my phone in a different room because it's going to bother me so much. So maybe that's what she's doing. But generally I will just, like, I'll try to watch my show, but, like, be checking my phone every 30 seconds. Also, this is only something I thought about on this read. It works perfectly fine. But I wonder if the buzzing thing is a little bit too phone-like. I wonder if there would be something more magical you could do, like have a little, like, wispy hologram come out and be like, you have one new message. I guess that's phone-like too, but the magical hologram part is not. Or I guess it would be the equivalent of your message app having a 1 in the corner, that the little floaty hologram just has a 1 on it or something like that. What else could you do? Because you did say it can't be in color, so maybe you have to upgrade. Maybe you have to upgrade for the hologram. But like the cover, that could work. That if on the cover, it would like have in like black ink like you have one new message, or just like the number 1, or like one message from Simon, that kind of thing. I think that might feel a little more like, yes, this is within the world, this is magical. Oh yeah, okay, so we come to the library. So my biggest critique when I walked away from the story, it still is my biggest complaint with the story, is the disembodied voice. Because, and I'm curious how other people read it, if other people had this problem or not. But for me, okay, we get to the library. Yep, it used to be private manor. Oh, I'll come back to that. Now the outside grounds are a park. She looks up. It seems to have seen better days. Now, granted, that can mean multiple different things. It can mean this is a ruin, this is a haunted house, like, it's not good. Or this could mean, it's a little worse for wear, but it's very much still in use. And so it's like, okay, like, I'm kind of reserving judgment. What does that mean? Well, I don't know. Maybe I did comment on exactly that. Like, ooh, is this a haunted house? I'm not sure where I commented that. But I think that's a line that can definitely go either way. But then in the next paragraph you go, it was clear they were doing their best to keep everything neat and well maintained, but it was equally clear the building itself was wearing down in ways they weren't able to repair. After wandering the first and second floors for several minutes, she had to ask how to get to the third floor. So, yes, like, again, that could go either way, where it's like, oh yeah, like, it's really not okay. Or it could be like, it's still a functioning library, it just has seen better days. But I think the issue for me is that the only description that we have of this library is that it's seen better days. And the only description is we walk up, it's seen better days, we go inside, it is wearing down. And so those things together just make me go, oh, okay, yeah, so this is like a haunted house situation. This is very much in disrepair, there is nobody here, it is not functional. And so then when we have this disembodied voice of, the third floor was closed off 5 years ago, ooh, then like it almost seems like the voice is a ghost, because it's just like, wait, we're in a ruined library, it doesn't seem like it's functional, and now there's a voice. Like, what's happening? And so I think that it would be very simple to fix that. You could just describe more than the disrepair. You could just describe, oh yeah, like there's librarians walking around, or there's patrons, or a patron opens the door for her when she walks in, or something like that. Or you could even say, like, the walls, the shelves don't seem okay, but the books are. So something like, the walls are all scuffed up, but the books seem to be in good shape. That kind of thing. It could better show, like, yeah, they're still trying to get you to, take the books out and stuff like that. What is he gonna say? But yeah, so just a description more than the disrepair would be good. And then also a dialogue tag of, like, the librarian or something like that would help. It's really interesting because it doesn't even say someone. It doesn't even say she had to ask someone how to get to the third floor. It just says she had to ask. And so an option was in my brain that she asked, like, a kiosk, that she asked, like, an electronic, thing or a computer or whatever. And granted, like, would those be working in a haunted house? Probably not. But still, like, I don't know, the point of the critique is, I don't know, like, what he's asking. Not even who, but what. She is asking, I mean, about the third floor. And so, that honestly was just like the most confusing part of it when I first read it. Like, for the most part, the story works extremely well and is very well done and flows and stuff like that. Like, that alone is just the main part that I was like, what? About. I do like the whole situation with the third floor and him opening the employees only door. Again, it's like, what's going on? Is this sus? What's happening? You know? And then it is interesting. I don't have a lot of familiarity with these kinds of buildings, but is this a common thing that when you have a super big building that, like, you can pay to maintain the first floor and have the library in the first floor, but you can't maintain the upper floors? Or is it more like it's either all or nothing? Like, either the whole building is working or the whole building is not. That also reminds me, this is rather nitpicky, but the Badger Hill Library was inside what used to be a large private manor. The accompanying grounds had been turned into a park, and the last member of the family left it to the city for public use. Because this is the longer part of this paragraph, and because it's what we're left on, I actually ended up reading that as the grounds were turned into a park. The grounds were left for public use. And I forgot, like, it didn't compute that you said it's a manor. So it's the manor that was left for the manor and all the grounds that were left for public use. Now, granted, if you wanted to obfuscate it a little bit, that kind of works. At least it did on me. But it's the fact that it's a manor. It used to be a manor. That's the important part. Because I was actually going to ask after my first read, I was like, why did this kid die in a library? Like, people don't usually be dying in libraries. And on my second read, I realized he didn't die in the library. He died in the manor. It's because it used to be a home of somebody in the past. And that does show how old of a ghost he is then. It's not like he died recently, which actually is kind of what I was thinking at first. But rather, like, he has been around so long that he died in the manor, and the manor was left by the last member of the family. The manor was turned into a library and park. The library fell into disrepair. Like, a lot has happened since his life there. And so I think, like, what was my idea there? I guess I would just say it all in one sentence of, like, you know, the manor and its accompanying grounds were left by the last member of the family for public use, and it had been turned into a library and park. You know, I think I just say it together to clarify, like, or I guess to highlight that, like, all of it used to be a manor, all of it was left, you know, kind of thing. I'm very curious how he can use the message book. I'm guessing it's just, like, that he has limited interactability with the real world. He can interact with the door and open it for her. He can interact with the book and stuff like that. But especially because the book can't see him, it is a little curious. Okay, if the book can't see him, how can he touch the book? And maybe more pressing, how did he get it? Was it his book while he was alive? Were they around hundreds of years ago? Was it a book that some patron of the library left? Maybe they went into the third floor, got scared, and left it. Was it left by the last surviving member of the family? Did the last surviving member of the family know him? This is kind of to what I was saying about how universes can get created through the writing group itself rather than the other way around. Or them being created first and then you writing about them for the writing group. What was I going to say? That, like, you know, for my Hallowed Things universe, like, this is in no way a planned thing. It's just a thing I wrote for the contest, and I was like, I like these characters. I want to write more about them. I feel like that this could happen with this, too, because I'm like, ooh, like, what was Simon's life like while he was alive? How far away in time did he live? What was his family like? Did his family know that he was a ghost? Did they try to take care of him? What happened when it became a library? Like, there's stuff you could write before, and there's stuff you could write about after. So yeah, curious how he got the book. I really like that your description of him being a ghost, that makes perfect sense. I really like the worn thin paper. I can totally imagine that. It's very fitting for the library. It kind of reads like she's thinking about books and paper while she's in the library, and so she makes that comparison. That's a great way to do comparison. I like, the outline, she only is seeing what she's looking directly at. Like, all very creative descriptions of him being a ghost, but clearly showing that he's a ghost. And I like his explanation of that the book can't see him, and stuff like that. That he wanted to be in the pictures, but he couldn't be. I love Fiora just, I like that you say she's stating the obvious. I like that she's just stating the obvious, and he just is like, yes, Also, how do you know, Fiora? Like, you didn't know you were talking to a ghost for what, months, years, in your message book. So there might be tens, or there might be single digits, double digits, or triple digits of ghosts that you've been talking to in your messages and forums and stuff. You wouldn't know. You didn't know about this one, I absolutely love this line. This is probably my favorite line in the whole piece, because, like, there is some transcendence there that, like, there's a lot of things that you can do wrong in relationships, like, romantic or otherwise, but lying and, betraying somebody's trust is one of the worst things that you can do, and really sabotages the relationship and stuff like that. It makes me think of, I don't know if I could find it, but the etymology nerd had a video that I actually think it would be good advice just in general for the group and writing stories, but he was basically talking about the basic rules of communication. And one was, one of the basic rules is that you assume that the other person is telling the truth, or that they are saying what they're saying honestly, earnestly, that kind of thing. And if that falls apart, if you don't think they're telling the truth, then the whole communication falls apart. And so it's that kind of thing of, like, well, if you're dating a liar, everything about the relationship falls apart. But if it's just like, oh yeah, you're just ghost, you're just dead, you're just an undead, supernatural, some may consider horrifying creature, that's fine, I love that comparison of, people might think ghosts are horrifying or scary or something like that. But in a relationship, that is a much less grievous sin than being a liar, dating a liar. I like that. And it's a really cool way to show that she still wants to date him and stuff like that. I think that's a really neat way to end the story, because you could have had it be like, okay, well, obviously, we can't date, but I'll still visit, we can't date, but we can be friends. I like that she's like, no, I like you, I fell in love with you, let's do this. Like, it doesn't matter to me if you're a ghost, like, it's still you. And so I think that's really cool. I really like the description of him flickering as he flinches. That's very cool. And again, I love the kind of twist, and even if it wasn't an intentional one, that he actually wants this, that he's like, yay, I have a girlfriend still. And so, very cute ending. I think it works just fine. Like, yeah, it's a short story, but I feel like a lot of the time, I don't know, I wasn't feeling that way with the ones this week, but I feel like it could very easily, with these shorter stories, go like, like, you should be using more of your available words. I guess I'm kind of saying that at the beginning of, like, explaining the message book and stuff like that, but it's not such a big thing as, like, oh, I feel like it ended too abruptly or anything like that. I definitely don't. I feel like this wraps up everything perfectly well at the end. I feel like the story flowed very well. It had a little arc to it. I think it works great. I think it's super cute, and it lifts my spirits. Let's see. Describing people and activity definitely would have helped set the scene. I'm not out of options, just out of time. Uh-huh. Similar to Makeup and I the other day, where we're talking about this kind of thing and going, I'm not hurting for words, I'm just hurting. And I feel like that's a lot of us in our stories, like, I'm not hurting for words, I just need to post the story, you know? Or at least in the holiday stories. Okay, Orphan says, one of our old school buildings had 3 floors, and the first 2 were in top condition, while the 3rd floor looks like something out of a horror movie. Gotcha. Mako, if we want to continue this, I think we should have the librarians know about him. Maybe. I mean, like, yes and no. I feel like maybe it might be difficult for them not to know about him. That might be strange, but why would his home be so dusty and in disrepair if the librarians care? Because I feel like if they cared about him, they would be like, you can't leave, so let's try and make the 3rd floor as nice as it can be for you. Is that okay, honey? You know, because if they're just like, yeah, there's a ghost up there, like, we don't talk to him, we don't maintain his space, then it's like, oh, rude, you know? You don't have to be mean about it. You can be nice. I'm imagining her getting a cart of books for him to ride on and trying to shove him out of the gate. Please write that. That's so cute and fun. Dead magic internet theory. I don't think I've heard of this. Brings new meaning to the concept of ghost accounts. Yeah, and of ghosting somebody. That reminds me. Hello, Kenny Kenny H.Y. How do I say your name? Hello, I date a ghost, says Kenny. It reminds me of, Dylan is in Trouble's reaction to, I think it's the first season of Bridgerton. He has a series where he reacts to the first episode and the last episode. I think it's in the season 1 one. And I guess this is a bit of a spoiler. But there's like a character who, her boyfriend / potential baby daddy is, like, not writing to her. And he's not writing to her. And so I don't remember if we know. I mean, I haven't watched season 1. I've only watched his video of it. And so, like, I don't know exactly what all goes down with her, what she thinks. But then in the last episode, like, we get a letter back, and we learn that he, you know, like, died. He died in battle or something like that. And so Dylan made a joke, which is still one of my favorite jokes of his, which is like, oh, he didn't ghost me, he became a ghost. And so I feel like you could do, like, wouldn't really work here because he, you know, never dropped her or anything like that, but it would be so funny if he, didn't talk to her for a while, and then she's going at the end, oh, he didn't ghost me, he is a ghost. Alright. Oh, there's the ad. I see little ghost cat from Orphan. Nice. Oh boy. Oh, that's so cute. Reincarnator posted a little comic about a little girl going to a police officer and going like, I have a ghost problem, and then, you know, he goes up and she is like, I've knocked all the books down, but now I can't put them back up. That's very cute. I didn't even notice the police officer is a dog. He's like a little Snoopy dog. But that is a cute idea for how ghosts work, of that they can, like, I don't know, like, knock the books down but not put them back up. They can make the lights flicker and go out, but not, you know, turn them back on or something like that. right. There's an ad. There's an ad on the horizon. I think Ghoulish might have fallen asleep because he's not grabbing his harpoons. I guess I will get Kitty Cam ready, assuming it's gonna show up. And the other kitty is indeed successfully acquired cat in his box. How to acquire cat, get box. I imagine knocking a book over takes more power than lifting it up. Well, I feel like it has to do with the fact that, like, ghosts can do... I mean, I don't know what the intention of the comic is, but I thought of it as, like, ghosts can do the negative thing, but not the positive thing, right? So that you can... You see the ghost, you know, shaking the bookshelf, making the books fall, and stuff like that. But you don't really see or hear ghost stories of a ghost nicely putting the books back afterwards, you know. So sorry I had to get summer grocery. That's fair. No need to apologize. Ads begin. The stream open and muted in incognito tab. You get ads? That sounded like the meme. You guys get ads? But you're subscribed. Why do you have ads? I'm glad you're enjoying the discussion, Kenny. But I said I would talk about the studio thing. I want to set up like a studio for my streaming and stuff in the media center. So that I have a more regular place that is truly mine. Because this is my dad's office, so I can't ever stream really during the day, during the week, because he's using it. Unless he's like gone on vacation, or not vacation, but gone on like a work trip. I would be with him if it was vacation, but if he's gone on a work trip or something like that. So I really want to have a studio and stuff, and this whole sound conversation is making me realize that I may need to, you know, do what I've seen the streamers, the YouTubers do, and put, you know, like the foam on the wall and stuff like that, if the sound is this bad, without just the blackboard. But I don't know when that will happen or if it will truly happen, but we can hope and we can pray that I will be able to make an actual like studio for my streaming and get a better setup that I can use whenever I want and stuff.
Oh, you're adorable kitty. Boop, boop, boop. No, she's purring. She's a purring kitty. She's a purring kitty. Baby.
Yeah, I don't know much about incognito, so just saying I have an incognito tab is not explanation to me, because yeah, like as Mako says, you can log in incognito tab, so I didn't realize you were trying to say I have a tab that's not signed in. And also because that could be the incognito tab could be what you're just watching it on. You know, you didn't necessarily say. I don't know if you said. Yeah, you said I have the stream open and muted in an incognito tab, so that's Christmas. So I just thought that's how you were watching the stream. Alrighty, but I think that came at the right time, because I don't think I have much else to say about this story. I think it's super cute. I think it's well done. I think you did a great job, and I'd love to see more about this universe.